Welcome everybody. We're going to call to order the Lacey Historical Commission. This is the date of 6/15/2022, time 6 p.m. and we have a quorum, so we will go ahead and get started. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? I have one suggested amendment to the agenda, and that is to move item 7C, Historian of the Year Award, up to the beginning of old business and making it 7A. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, well, I will need a motion to adopt as amended.
Don't move.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Wonderful, we can let Seth get out of here early. We'll move on to item number 3. Are there any corrections to the April 20, 2022 minutes? I have one suggested change, and that is in the calendar of events section, Mount St. Helens is spelled HELEN''S, and there is no apostrophe in Helens. I would like that appreciate it if that could be edited.
You got it.
Any other corrections to the meeting minutes last month? Seeing none, we'll need a motion to approve those as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are adopted as amended. Move on to item number 4, announcements. Jen?
Yes, I do have one, and I just wanted to make sure the record shows that Commissioner Getz and Commissioner Tyler joined the meeting at 6:02. Also, yeah, so great news. We had 3 applicants for the vacant Historical Commission spot. One of which, we whittled it down to 2 because one is outside the area. And so the mayor and Chair Ebel, you'll get an invitation. I haven't seen one yet, but I made sure that they would include you as well for interviews. So that's, I thought, real exciting news. And I think Erin has an announcement too.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with everyone that Carson resigned her position. Her last day was June 6th. So we're working on refilling that.
I'm sorry, I missed the name. Who was that?
Carson?
Oh, okay.
Museum assistant.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that announcement. Any further announcements? We'll move on to item number 5, correspondence. Is there any?
Nope.
No correspondence. We'll move on to item number 6, calendar of events. Anything to note?
No.
Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, old business, beginning with 7, the new A, which is the Historian of the Year Award.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen here. It's not there. Okay, one sec. I would like to share this one. So let me try again. Okay. We did share these slides at a May City Council meeting, and Seth Huff was there. But what we wanted to do was invite him to the Historical Commission meeting so that you all could be part of him receiving his Historian of the Year award. And I thought, since we're doing this, we might as well share some of the slides and the talking points that Erin put together regarding our Historian of the Year. And so I will quickly go through that, and then I'm going to turn it over to our chair to actually present the award to our past Commissioner Huff. So recipients of the Lacey Historian of the Year Award have included all the honorees listed on the screen here. Tonight, we wanted to recognize the very first Lacey Historian of the Year, Shirley Jajic, who we lost last month. So that would have been in April because this was reported in May. So Erin reported she was so honored to have been able to know this woman who was such a force in our community. She served on the Lacey Historical Commission in the 80s. And then when the Lacey Historical Society was formed, she served a decade on a board and a decade as president. She was the reason for the memorial gardens at the Lacy Museum, and she's the reason Safeway looks like the Lacy School and has a lovely marker on the side of the building. Shirley would so often come down to the museum when Erin was working there, and she told her, "I'm so glad the museum is in good hands, sweetheart." So I thought that was a really nice compliment to Erin. And what a compliment from such a gracious woman. So the person that we want to honor tonight is Seth Huff. And Seth was appointed to the Historical Commission in 2017. Although he originally applied for the Parks Board, we're glad he ended up being part of this commission. He stated on his application that his reason for wanting to be on a city commission was to further the stated goal of the city of Lacy to enrich the quality of life for all our citizens. So you can see that here on the screen. And the thing that Erin and I wanted to share is that Seth just was always the first person to step up and help. And he participated on the ad hoc policy committee. Starting out, he attended every meeting and provided great feedback. Not, it's not the most glamorous or glorifying of tasks, but that's just Seth just kind of leaning into it and really digging in to do the work. So we really appreciate that. His contribution was essential to this project. And he's willing to step up, but also whatever he does, it's 100%. So the other thing that we wanted to note is at the beginning of our Sasquatch, our first traveling exhibit, we didn't realize really how much he was going to save the museum staff at such an important time. So at the grand opening of this exhibit, he had helped Erin with at City Hall for the speaker series, and he immediately followed Erin on her first visitor orientation without being asked. And as soon as it was done, he just took over with grace, patience, and enthusiasm. So then the next week, when it became clear that we had to extend the museum hours in order to get everybody to come and accommodate all the visitors, Erin immediately thought of Seth and asked if he could help out. He volunteered every week on our extra day throughout the length of the exhibit. So we quite literally could not have done that without him. And it's so huge that it's worth highlighting again. And we're really obviously already miss you on the commission. I think I speak for everybody when I say that. But we're really excited to present this award to him, and I'll let Chair Evil take it away.
Yeah, Seth, I just wanted to say, when we first met, it was in the walking tour of the historic neighborhood, and we were in the parking lot of the Lacy Museum, and I was impressed mostly by your enthusiasm for being involved. You really wanted to learn more about Lacy history, and your tenacity for helping out and volunteering and not being afraid to step up, when needed or when called on, was evident throughout your time on the commission. Specifically, I am very happy that you were our representative to the Thurston County when we started partnering with them on the RAC stuff. Having done that, I think has helped to build the relationships that we depend on. So and in addition to that, I've noticed your enthusiasm for all things history related has been evident throughout. So I just wanted to say again, congratulations. It's a well-deserved award, and we thank you very much. We will miss you, and thank you for volunteering. Yeah. So the award here. So here you are, sir. Very good. All right. Thank
Do you
you.
want to say anything, Seth?
The one thing I would want to say is, well, two things. Commissioner Getz, they keep throwing that tagline on me from my cover letter, and a pro tip to everybody, anytime you write a cover letter, know it might come back to bite you. Commissioner Getz, that was before I took citizen out of my vernacular and replaced it with the word resident. So I just want to let you know that. Historian of the Year. That's a title, and to me, I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time for about a month with that. And for me, I look at it as one that does historian stewardship. And when I joined this commission, my only thought was to be of use and to try to learn what it means to build community. I heard that thrown around for 10 years before I ever did any volunteer in Lacy. I had no idea what it meant. I wanted to know what does build community mean? And the one thing that I got to do here is I got to meet a lot of people in the historical community that I didn't know existed in Lacy. And I got to open up and expanded a new community within Lacy that I did not know existed. And that was a great gift to me already. But it was also with this museum project, when Jen called and said, hey, we couldn't have you on the park board because we had somebody more qualified. Great. But she talked about this big capital program about building a museum here. And that to me really, it really piqued my interest. And I got to tell you, the first couple meetings, I wasn't, you get shocked at numbers on how much things cost when you're not involved in the process of these projects. How I got over that was, one, educating myself. Aaron was gracious enough to talk me through at the beginning and to learn, but also it was, what I found out was that Lacy was one of the highest rated cities in America to live in versus based on Money Magazine. So what I started doing is looking at other cities that were on that list. And I started following them on the news, and I started going into their government meetings and seeing that they were dealing with the same problems we were dealing with. They would get these estimates on a project, and then they would go 20 and 30% above. It just happens. That's just the nature of the game with these projects. And a lot of that I had to set to aside, and I have to understand that those things would happen. But the building of community and building it through historical commission was never boring to me. This is just one of the things that we're trying to do, me and my wife, with different projects that we're trying to do throughout Lacy. And I appreciate all the accolades and stuff. I think it's way too much, but I do appreciate it. And it's not anything that I'm ever going to leave now. And that's the thing with this award to me. It's like I have a lifetime membership into the historical community of Lacy and to the historical stewardship. And I hope to do things in the future. I have no idea what that will be to help further the stewardship, the historical stewardship of this town, of this community. But I read Ken Balsley's comments about, a month earlier when he got an award, and he talked about how, Lacy's already a great city. Fine, we can check that box. But what we need to do is the hard work of building community. And it's like making a quilt. And if I'm just pulling one thread through during my time, and my wife is just pulling one thread through, if we're all just pulling one thread through, that's great. Somebody else can finish this quilt for us, all of us. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the future. June 18th, we got something at the rack. It's the Juneteenth celebration. So I'm sure it's going to be a balmy 59 degrees, but I hope to see everyone there. So thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you so much, Seth. And I'm so glad we have a museum champion out there
Yeah,
in our community. So. We'll pull you in, trust me.
I'm always willing to speak. You know, why don't you get me? You get me for 3 minutes and I'll say something inspirational. So that's what I do.
Awesome. All right.
Thank
All right,
you.
well, take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good evening.
All right, well, thank you for that. We will move on to the next item, which is the Lacy Depot brand opening recap.
Oh, but we need to do.
But we need to do
7A.
the new museum project first, of course.
Yeah, so I don't have a ton of stuff to report out, but what I'm really excited about, and I really want to share with you all, is that Sarah Smith and I were at a booth for Parks, Culture and Recreation at the Lacey Spring Fun Fair, which was phenomenal. There were thousands and thousands of people. It was record-breaking attendance for this event. It was at St. Martin's University, and it was in May 21st and 22nd. And we had a big rendering. We ordered a bigger one. So we had a kind of a legal size rendering of the museum and cultural center. And we had the depot stickers, and we had, a bunch of just handouts and giveaways. And we had a survey for our Parks, Culture, and Recreation Comprehensive Plan update. So as you know, we're doing a ton of outreach. And I had at least 10 people, and I wasn't even in the booth the whole time, just come up and say, this is the new museum. I'm so excited for the new museum. So I tried to get people's information if they were interested in hearing more about the project. They were like, we love the depot, we love the playground, and we're so excited about this new area of town. So I was very excited about that. The word is starting to get out, and especially since the old warehouse has come down, so the site looks different, so it's drawing attention. And so we're real excited for, the food truck season to get started with the enhancements that are happening out there. So that was really, really cool. And then we keep getting reached out to come speak. I know Erin has, I have as well. Sarah Smith covered for a senior services for South Sound discussion, and she went and presented the slides, and they're, super interested. I just got reached out to by the Friendly Flower Garden Club. And so they don't want someone to come speak until the spring, but they just wanted to let me know that they were excited about the project and they want to be involved. So just, it seems like every day there's more and more champions in the community. So that's really all I have to share at this time about the museum.
Yeah, let's hope that's on an upward trend for sure. Any other comments on the new museum project? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 7. Well, the next item, Lacey Depot grand opening recap.
Yeah, so we had that on May 25th. I thought it went really well with the exception of the sound. We were just talking about this before the meeting. I think we could have used a bigger speaker, but we did have everybody kind of crowd in to the middle so they could hear us. And we also wanted to get some great photos. But I really wanted to thank all the commissioners for coming and just kind of get your perspective on how you thought things went. I mean, it was a nice, beautiful sunny day. We had 3 food trucks there. I thought Lacy Rotary was a fantastic showing, and we were able to do not only the ribbon cutting and grand opening for the depot building itself, but also the playground. So we did 2 ribbon cuttings, and it was a lot of fun. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it went well. I loved having the table with all of the information about the new museum there. I thought that was really helpful for people. When it came time to get started, I went over to the playground to call people who were over there waiting, letting them know we were going to start. And when I did so, I got a lot of strange looks because those people weren't necessarily there for the grand opening. They were just there for the playground. But a few of them, I think, wandered over, which was nice. The food trucks part was, having them there while we had our thing was great. Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I think other than the sound, which we already talked about, it probably would have felt a little more official with a podium, because you and Erin and me all spoke and we all had to hold our notes sort of just out in the open. And it would have been nice if we just had a little, I don't know if the city has a traveling podium they can bring or something like that, but I think that would add a little more gravitas to those kinds of events. But yeah, I think everybody who showed up was really pleased by it. So what about the rest of you?
Commissioner Getz has her hand up.
Commissioner Getz.
If I can just jump in and say, sorry for not making it, but the dentist had other plans. So I apologize for missing it, and it sounded like it was wonderful.
Well, we missed you, but I understand.
I thought we had a pretty good turnout, frankly, and the Rotary certainly helped with that. Obviously. But it seemed like we had a reasonably good turnout for the day and what we had there at that point. So
Yeah. It was a nice event, and it was an appreciative crowd.
yeah.
Commissioner Tyler, any thoughts? You were there. You're on mute, sir. Alan, you're still on mute. He's probably muttering something under his breath. That's a good thing we can't hear
Okay,
him.
Hey,
I just wanted to mention that, Jennifer did a great job as the MC and also in her attempt a fun event for everybody. She really did a good job with that too. So thank you very much for that.
thank you. And I want to thank Erin for her help, and also Sarah. Actually, Sarah Smith took the lead on getting everything put together and organized during a very, very busy time for all of us. So kudos to her.
And I applaud getting scissors.
I was gonna say the same thing.
The scissors.
Whoever
yes.
brought the giant scissors deserves an award.
That was Sarah.
That was a very good touch. That's a nice touch. All right, any other comments on that depot grand opening? Very good. We will move on to the next item, which is Goose Pond / Jackson Memorial Marker.
Not memorial, they're still alive. So we are getting real close to having the marker be finished. So I thought I'd just share, it's not finished, but it's real close. Oh, this is not the right one. Hang on.
And Erin, while you're pulling that up, before it's finished, the commissioners will have a chance to provide comment, right? Or did we already do that?
We did that already.
Oh, we did it. Okay. Pardon me.
Oh my gosh, why is it not pulling up?
And I should say thank you for all of your comments.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it was fun writing that. I actually wrote that speech that morning. So I was started writing the night before and then got distracted and I didn't finish it till the next morning. So.
All right. I don't know how to get this to the right size in here, but anywho.
We can see it really well. You probably just have to move it around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my taskbar out of the way, but it doesn't want to. All right, let's zoom out a little. So yeah, this is what it looks like. We organized it into sections. The Jacksons have had input on the content and they have made some changes and approved it. We're really just at the tweaking stage. So I just wanted to show you what it looked like. My intern Fulton and Nat Jackson and I walked out to the marker site yesterday to confirm the location, which is on the Woodland, the Karen Fraser Woodland Trail between the museum and Woodland Creek Park. So it's at a nice spot overlooking the pond. So yeah, I just wanted to share.
Who's the designer of this?
Donna Feliciano, our public affairs person. She has designed all of the markers.
Yeah, I love how they all have the same sort of look and feel.
Yeah, me too.
And if I'm reading that right, this project was funded by a diversity and local history grant.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah, they funded the intern who did all of the research and writing. He did a great job.
And one thing I'll add is that we had hoped to do this marker dedication in June, but the marker is going to take like 12 weeks, right, Erin?
Yeah,
To get it actually ordered. Yeah, so we are going to have to postpone the dedication to the first week of October. And we'll make sure and give you guys a specific date just as soon as we have that set.
Okay. Anything else on that topic?
nope.
Very good. That wraps up our old business. We can move on to new business, starting with item 8A, recent acquisitions.
Yes. Let me pull that up. Okay, so you may have remembered me mentioning that I was assisting someone researching the fire department, Paul Webb. His father was on the Lacey Fire Department, and so he wrote this history of the first decade. Pretty cool. There are very few books written about Lacey, so that's pretty exciting. And so he donated us a copy of the book. That's part of our agreement when we lend photos to people, is that they provide us a copy. So this was an exchange. And then the next item I have is during the site preparation, some bottles were found at the Lacey Depot site. And we are required to find those things that we find like that. So those will be added to the collection. And then I received a few things from the City of Lacey's utility billing department, including some sample utility bills from different eras and some brochures and shut-off notice door hangers, news clippings, and a really cool water meter ledger from the 80s. So that will be added to our city collection. And then I received some photos and a memorandum of understanding that was signed between the Squaxin Island Tribe and the cities of Lacey, Olympia, and Yelm. And we already have stuff related to the accord that was signed in 2014 with the Nisqually tribe, so this will be a nice complement to that. And then we declined a book that was left on our doorstep that was just like a little kid's book that was about world history. So I don't know what that has to do with our mission, so we are not accepting that. That is all I have.
Was that world history book historical in any way?
Not really, no. It's a modern book, like within the last decade or two.
Oh, okay. And then could you scroll up for me? Oh, the bottles, right. I'm curious, like you said, the city's required to preserve archaeological resources. Is there any way of determining how old these bottles really are, as opposed
Yes.
to, where's the line drawn between trash found on the site and
Well, didn't you know that archaeological resources are trash?
Vice versa.
So I can tell by looking. When I actually did my archaeology coursework in college, I did a lot of historic bottle research. So there's definitely some bottles in there that look like they're 30s era, maybe. But I haven't had a chance to really look at them. But yeah, it's actually really fun stuff to like date bottles. I have all kinds of resources for how you can look at the mold seams and the marks on the bottom, and there's really cool internet sites with maker's marks and stuff like that. So I could nerd out on that for a long time. How much do you want me to tell you?
I think that's quite enough, but I appreciate your expertise in that area. That's great. Well, that's great. Is there any motion to accept these and then discussion?
Also move, Jim Keough.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, anybody want to talk about them? more than we already have. All right, hearing none, all in favor of accepting these, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. These items are accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the Open Public Meetings Act changes, item 8B.
Okay, that's me. So in the packet, there's probably way more information that you ever cared to know about this, but I'm gonna highlight, so just look over
Yeah.
a different screen here. So this part here, so this is the information that went out to City Council. And regarding some recent changes. So during the 2022 legislative session, House Bill 1329 was passed making changes to the state's OPMA related to public meeting accessibility and participation. So this was signed into law by Governor Jay Inslee on March 24th, 2022. So what I want to share with you, and so then what I did is I put in your packet how it affected council, which isn't exactly the same as it affects the Historical Commission. So the stuff that's in your packet is more just for your information. But what I wanted to make sure that this board knows, and I read through the Historical Commission meetings policy, and I really don't think there's any policy changes that need to happen at this time, and I'll tell you why. So the first thing I want to make sure you know is that as of June 1, it's required to have a physical location. So even if all of the commissioners are on the screen, we still are required to hold this space. So it needs to be a hybrid option for people. So again, there'll always be a staff member here, whether it's me or Aaron or Sarah Smith, that will be able to facilitate the in-person component. So I want to make sure everybody was clear on that, because there was a motion, I don't remember exactly what month it was, but I think you all wanted to see how the hybrid went. But now there isn't really a choice. It's just, and that's very recent as of June 1, like I said. So, but in your policy, it states that that you'll comply with the provisions of the OPMA, the Washington State Open Public Meetings Act. So if the parameters change for that, then this board just follows up. So that one should be good. The other thing, it just, it makes sure that receiving public comment, we allow for written comments and also public comments, which you already do. One of the things our council was not allowing is any items to be commented on that were actually on the agenda that night, but that's never been a rule for this commission, so there's no change there. And then just one other thing something I learned, and you guys might already know this, is that the word adjourn for the meeting technically means that you're coming back like the same day or maybe even the very next day. But it was stated, at our executive team meeting that it's fine to use that term just so long as we all understand that that's what it technically means. Or we could say end the meeting, but it's probably okay to leave it. It's not a big deal, but I just thought that was really interesting that term is used so freely, but I guess we come back the next month. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to point out.
Okay,
For the new legislation.
well, for the next 2 meetings that I'll be chairing, I'll make sure we adjourn to a date specific.
There you go.
Any comments on that from any of the commissioners? Hearing none, move on to, well, that wraps up our new business. We'll move on to our ad hoc committee reports. Policy Steps Committee is on hiatus. Is there any update?
No, we remain on hiatus. Thank you for asking.
Remaining on hiatus. And how about the Archaeology Committee?
Nothing to share at this time.
Very good. Very good. Well, that wraps up our ad hoc committee reports. Let's move on to the public comment portion of tonight's meeting, beginning with the Lacey Historical Society.
There are no members of the public here, including the Lacey Historical Society.
Very good. Well, not good. I mean, I like to hear from them. But thank you for letting us know. Okay, well, hopefully we'll hear from them next month and see what they're up to. So seeing no one here from the general public or from the Lacey Historical Society, we will move on to our reports. It's going to be the shortest meeting in history.
We'd almost think Kim was leading.
Yeah, right. We'll begin with the museum curator report.
Yeah, so probably our biggest news is that our new exhibit opened at the beginning of the month. It's 1968, the year that rocked Washington, and part of it is at the museum and part of it is at City Hall. Maintenance is helping me install it, so it's laid out at City Hall, but I don't know when it will be actually installed, hopefully soon. So as I said, Carson left, so I'm just working on kind of keeping up with everything. We did have our last history talk of the season last month with Steve Olson on the Mount St. Helens eruption. We had 58 people in attendance. Let's see, pretty much everything else we have talked about.
Very good. Thank you for that. We'll move on to commissioner reports. Let's begin with Commissioner Keough.
Biggest thing I'm seeing right now, I've been in contact with the Thurston County Historical Group and was working on the rack, and we're having a meeting Friday morning at 9. I've been trading off narratives for the plaques that they're working on for the rack. And so part of what we're going to be doing is reviewing some of the ones that are in so far. And I think we've got probably, of the 8 or 9 that they're trying to draft, we're probably got about 5 in draft form that I think the group's going to be reviewing at that point.
Nice. That's great progress.
Yeah, it's moved along quite a bit more quickly here in the last month or so.
That's great. Looking forward to seeing those. Let's move on to Commissioner 30acre.
I'm not muted. I don't have a whole lot. I was contacted by a local archaeologist who has been doing quite a bit of historic research on Thurston County. And so she just was asking if I had any reference documents, because I was trying to pull this up, that that the NARA records is like 90 days out on request, which is really long. So I referred her to like our website and our links, and then I gave her Erin's name. So I'm not sure if you were contacted.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, I hope so. Okay, I hope that was okay. I wasn't.
Of course.
And then I also apologize, I was not at the opening. I was at a conference up north hosted by Siquamish tribe, and not related to this group particular or Lacy, but I was presenting on a project that was recently completed at Owen Beach in Tacoma. And so if anyone hasn't been to the reopened Owen Beach, which just opened up a couple weeks ago, it's quite nice, and there's some new interpretive signage that I worked on with the tribe. So it's I think there's more to come, but it's a nice beginning example that I thought you might enjoy. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Let's move on to Commissioner Black.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Commissioner Tyler.
I volunteered to help with the Thurston County Emergency Preparedness folks, and all I did was send a meeting availability survey out, and that's all I've heard from them.
Okay. Commissioner Getz.
I also have nothing to report. Thank you.
All right, well, then we will move on to the chair's report. The only thing I want to report is that next week is the annual Washington Museum Association Conference. It's being held in Olympia. It's the first in-person conference that's been held in 3 years for that organization. And I will be a presenter at a workshop I put together with Felix Bennell, who is a state historian and broadcast, well-known broadcaster in Washington State. He has a couple of different podcasts. He did one for the State Historical Society, and he does one for Cairo Radio called The Resident Historian. And then I also reached out to Kim Davenport with the Tacoma Historical Society because they have a podcast called Grit City Stories, where they tell stories about the Tacoma area. And then of course my podcast, the Washington Our Home podcast. So we're putting together these this workshop for that organization. And so we're going to try to get folks around the state to see how easy and exciting it is to start a podcast about local history and use that medium to share stories to new and broader audiences. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also going to be a vendor there in case anybody wants to stop by. I'll have my booth set up. I think that's about all I had. I didn't have anything else. So we'll move on now to item 11D, Parks, Culture and Recreation Director Report.
Gosh, just a couple of things. I mean, summer's here. Suddenly, I'm not sure how that happened, but you know, lots going on in our department, summer camps, events. We've got our concert series starting up over at Huntimer Park. There's the 3rd of July fireworks event, of course, at Rainier Vista. Oh, yay, I see Commissioner Tyler has our Lacy in tune.
Nice.
And that little pamphlet that he's got also has, there's a Play in the Park series, which is kind of our traveling events, fun happenings. So yeah, lots going on. We're really excited that everything is back up and running and people are ready to get out and things have been really well attended and crowded. There is something really fun too, called the Lovelacey Market. That is, it's actually not sponsored by the city, but it's a park rental for event over at Huntimer. And it's every 3rd Thursday. So they did their first one last month in May, and then tomorrow is the June one. Tons of vendors, lots of just diverse, fun vendors. There's food, there's entertainment on the stage, and so you might check it out. It goes through September. It's every 3rd Thursday, and we're looking at booking them potentially over at the Depot site as well. Community and Economic Development is working on that one. So anyway, just thought you guys might be interested. We also are hiring for 2 recreation coordinators, and we are in the interview process for those. So we'll be adding 2 new faces to our department of 16 of us. So that's all I have for now.
Very good. Thank you for that report. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Right. If you guys want to cut this short, we can do that. I will need a motion to adjourn until the 3rd Wednesday of July at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess we gotta go. Motion carries. Thanks, everybody. Another great meeting in the books.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Sarah. I'll check in with you in the morning, okay? Oh, we're still streaming. Oops.